The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre.
Well, the time is, it's nearly 10 past 10. That's close enough, isn't it? It's nearly 10 past 10 on this Wednesday morning. If you were listening before the news, you would have heard me briefly talking to Christian, who's come down from the Dooralong Transformation Centre this morning. And Christian's going to be telling us more about his story. So, although I've said it once, I'll say it again. Good morning, Christian.
Good morning, Phil.
Christian was telling me of his problems around drugs and alcohol, and they started at quite an early age for you, didn't they?
Yeah, they started around 12, 13, smoking marijuana, and then, growing up and hanging around crowds led me into other choice of drugs, and then drinking every weekend and hanging around crowds that I shouldn't have hung around, but we get caught up in all these situations of life, and
yeah. So when you started drinking or taking the marijuana at 13, was that because all your mates were doing it, or was there something particular happening for you in your life?
Well, yeah, we could say it was another thing to feel cool, and just to join around in that crowd. But I used it as another blockage for my life of growing up. I grew up with a violent history sort of thing through schooling, and my mum was getting belted by boyfriends and past stuff, and just trying to get rid of it, and smoke marijuana was blocking it because I was always sleeping or not going to school and learning. So the childhood home that you grew up in, and the environment that you were living in was a violent and sort of abusive. Yeah, pretty much.
And the drugs just helped to, as you said, it blocked it. It blocked it out for you.
It made me be me, sort of, in a way of blocking everything out, and so. Yeah.
Because at the age of 13, you don't know what to do you? You're just a child.
You're just growing up with whatever's in front of you, and the hometown that I grew up in, that was Blacktown area, and everywhere you're walking, you're seeing addicts and that, laying passed out on the street, and just seeing that when I was a young age, and me and my mum used to walk around and collect all needles on the side of the road, and that's how bad the suburb was, because of all the junkies and the addicts, and I was one of them. I grew up.
So it was readily available for you. There was no difficulty obtaining.
Pretty much, it was there. And when you're growing up, you see a lot of things, and you learn from it. And when you learn from it, you sort of acted, and that's what I'd done. I acted it, and.
Did it have, it would do, I imagine. Did it have much of an effect on your schooling and your education?
Yeah, well, myself, with my addiction, I was always hunting that and going out stealing from shops, and, and how that was, I regret the things that I've done, like stealing and all that, I should have stayed in school and got an education, but, I learned a lot more through, this life of being on the street, and, that's where the drugs put me, I got out of my mother's house by smashing her house, and that's because of the drugs, and, I couldn't control my anger and all that stuff, so...
But you were still a teenager, you didn't have an adult's mind, it's the only way perhaps that you could deal with it at that young age. Yeah. So the marijuana then led on to sort of more strong drugs, did it?
Yeah, well, it led on to gas. I went to gas, and so that's speed, and led on to ice, and later on through the years I was popping pills as well. That's around 16, 17, and I was popping pills and going to pubs and clubs and stuff like that on pills, like trips and LED trips and all this and that. And
you make it sound, Christian, and correct me, but it makes it sound as if you were just taking anything you could get your hands on.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my addiction. That's how I was treating my body. I was getting my hands on whatever I could get on, and I was just using whatever I could use. And
did you have a job at this time?
When I was when was it, 2013 to 2015, I was working in a factory job out of Revel Park, and the boss there, she's a very good boss, and I was in addiction as well while I was working there, and I was earning a lot of money, 800 and 900 a week, that's good money in a factory job, and for the person who I am now, I look back at that and say, look, I blew every single little bit of money on every single drug that I could possibly get on, and you know, gambling that come with that as well, because I was going to the pub after work, and you know, I learned a lot from, you know, just being in that life. And
how is it? What's it like? I mean, did you at the time like your life, or did you just absolutely hate it?
I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it at the same time. I knew there was a better life ahead of me, but, you know, it's just the way to change it around. I didn't know how to, you know, get around myself to feel my emotions and all this other stuff that I had to deal with. You know, I had to deal with my anger and all this, because I was a very angry person, because I had a lot of hate or trust. You know, I lost all my trust with all my people, you know, and like my mum and all that, you know, I lost trust because, you know, she couldn't call up a number to get me help, you know, and, you know, I went to jail in a way because I smashed her house, and that was because of the drugs and all this. And, you know, I do regret what I'd done in front of my two little brothers, and, you know, I copped the consequences for my actions, and, you know, I learned from that. You know, I always learn from my mistakes and what I do wrong, and,
And you were telling me earlier as well that you've had a lot of sort of loss in your life, not just loss of relationships, but you've had a lot of people in your life that you have lost.
Yeah, well, since I've been in addiction, there's always been heaps of people passing away, and, you know, from an OD, and, you know, just seeing that, and it's like, you know, recognising them people that, you know, were pretty good people, but they had a problem, and this disease of addiction that, you know, eats people alive, you know what I mean, and they just drop after one shot or one use, you know what I mean, and yeah, so pretty much when was it, 22nd of December, not last year, the year before, my pop passed away. So you know, my pop passed away from a stroke. He was in the hospital bed, and I went and seen him, and just seeing that stuff, you know, it made me realise too, you know, life is short, and you know, it's what you make of it. And my pop used to be a very cheeky person, happy, and you know, talkative, and being in that moment, you know, hearing him sort of swallowing on his own saliva, and you know, that sort of rocked home. But myself, I still went out and stuck my life, because, you know, I wanted to, you know, sort of be with him, and you know, my addiction took control, and I went out and used, and I did, you know, have a couple of, you know, pass outs, and because of the OD, and led me to, you know, liver failure and kidney failure, because, you know, my addiction was very bad, that, you know, I was drinking, using, and whatever you can possibly think of I was using, you know, and that led me to, you know, bleed internally, and kidney failure, liver failure, and yeah, I'm lucky to be alive, really, because of my addiction, and yeah, I'm blessed.
Yeah, it sounds like whenever a big issue happened for you in your life, a challenging issue like your pop passing away, or the other issues that we've been talking about, your learned response at that time was just to hit the drugs and the alcohol.
Yeah, well, that's
because
right.
You didn't know nobody told you any other way.
Yeah, it was just me, and myself was telling myself to just go that only way, and you know, there's been a lot of times when I sat there and I wanted to, you know, jump in front of trains just to get rid of the addiction, but, you know, I couldn't do it because there was something holding me back, and you know, I'm blessed to be the person who I am now. And
and we don't want to dwell too much on I think we've all sort of picked up from what Christian was saying, that he's had a very hard life, a life full of loss and violence, and yeah, as he was mentioning towards the end of that little chat there, it took its effect physically on your body as well, didn't it? It was liver failure, kidney failure. Yeah,
it does.
Can you identify a time when you said, look, Christian, I'm going to kill myself if I carry on like this. I've got to do something about it. Was this after your pop passed away?
No, I reckon it would have been beforehand, but, you know, my addiction did take control after my pop passed away, and yeah, I was pretty much nearly dead after that. You know, that's how bad I sort of took it. Then my mate passed away after my birthday, and I pretty much knocked on his door because like I had a mate yelling out he's dead, and yeah, then I knocked on his door, and then we found him passed out dead and stone cold, blue, and just seeing that made me have a sort of look over my own self that I'm next, and I was living on the street at that time, and it's just very very sickening.
And you were telling me
disease.
that you lived on the street for a number of years.
Yeah, so 8 years on and off. Like I've been couch surfing to people's houses and this and that. I was a smelly person and this and that. Going house to house to get drugs, just to run the streets, sort of thing. And
so easy for the rest of us when we see sort of homeless people sleeping in shop doorways. It's so easy for the rest of us just to judge them for sort of being some sort of moral failures and walk on by. But when we hear stories such as Christians put a face to it and a story to it, we realise it could have been anybody in that situation.
No, that's right. It could have been.
Yeah, and as you say, it was you. You were that person sleeping on the streets.
I was.
Yeah. Look, we're going to leave it there. We've heard enough to know Christian had a very tough, very hard life, but he also has a hopeful and an optimistic story to tell, and that's what we really want to hear. So we're going to break for some music. We're going to come back and we're going to learn from Christian how he discovered Dooralong and what he's been doing at Dooralong, and how he has slowly, over this past 12 months or so, started to turn his life around and move in another direction, which is a really sort of positive story. Before we go to the music, if Christian we have mentioned stuff that's raised issues for you, triggered stuff for you, and you need somebody to talk to, then don't forget, give our friends at Lifeline a ring on 13 11 14. Give them a ring. They will love taking your call. That's what they exist for, to chat to people who've been triggered by issues. So give them a ring on 26 minutes past 10. We're still talking to Christian this morning, who was telling us about the life he had up until, well, a year or so ago, when he decided that it was time to do something about it. And that was over 12 months ago now, wasn't it, Christian?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you found out about Dooralong. Somebody must have told you about them, I guess?
Yeah, so pretty much I was, through the community correction and that, I went to Merit, and I was doing the Merit program, and so my Merit officer that I was dealing with, she sort of referred me to go to a detox, and when I went to a detox as well, they sort of put it through to, we'll send you to Dooralong. So pretty much my Merit officer gave me a couple of weeks to think about it, and so I sat there and I thought about it, and I just took it on, and that was in 2018, and I took it on, and I pretty much went to Gorman Unit, and that's out at St Vincent Hospital, and so I went and done that, and
that's what you do, the detox, is it?
Yeah, that was a detox, and I sat there for a little bit of time, and so I went to Dooralong in 2018, and
just to interrupt you there, I'm thinking that detox must have been quite hard for you, because you had been on drugs for well over 10 years, and hard drugs and all the rest of it. So was that really a really trying time for you?
It wasn't, I knew sort of, I didn't know, but I sort of had a clue of what I was going to deal with, because, so pretty much I just had to do it, you know what I mean? And,
it's part of the process, and you'd signed up for it, so...
Well, that's it, I did have, sort of times when I wanted to walk out, and, in the way that they do help you, and they do try to keep you back, and, try to, just get you to understand that, it's a better place to, get away from the stuff. But, then pretty much walking through Dooralong doors, leaving detox, one of the boys come and picked me up from Dooralong, and I went out there, and ever since then, I've always wanted to, just to get it, and I had lots of ups and downs while I was there, and I got referred out over, a lot of anger problem that I had. I got told no, and I couldn't deal with the answer no, and so I sort of done something that I shouldn't have done, and that was breaking something, and when I broke something, I got referred out, so that was a big wait for me until, I kept on calling, so from, August time to 2020. Today, 2020, pretty much, I got the phone call on the 26th of February last year to go into detox, and it was a long journey of waiting. I was in addiction, so pretty much walking into Dooralong, I had to accept that I had a problem, and when I accepted that I had a problem, that disease of addiction, that was the problem, and to who I am now and what I've become now, I've become to control my emotions and my feelings, to accept ups and downs in the way that there is always going to be ups and downs in life, and the program out at Dooralong gives you a lot of an understanding of life, and to who I am now. And
so they're giving you help, and they referred you out, and you got help, and you've come back to Dooralong, and you've done all those anger management courses, and since you've come back to Dooralong about a year ago, you've been there ever since.
Yeah, so I've had a couple of ups and downs since then. Pretty much from today, it's the 3rd of March, until June last year, I got referred out for 21 days, and then I come back around, the end of July, early August. I come back, and I've been there ever since, and that was just the last thing that I needed to sort of deal with there, and that was a bit of anger and how I sort of speak to other people in the way that I used to react in a way that I shouldn't have reacted, and it was in an anger tone, and the things that I said that I shouldn't have said. So I had to deal with that in a way that I had to do an anger management course sort of thing out there, and I had to just to study myself in the way that I had a lot of character defects that I had to come over, and the child within myself that I am back then, and so now I can actually, look back and say that this place is a good place that, has got the best thing for life in a way that you can take with you, and, you can live a better life if you take the program with you, and that's what I want to do, I haven't got it all yet. I want to stay there until I do get it, and
But it sounds as though you made tremendous program. You've recognised that you have had anger management issues in the past. You've not ducked and dived or denied that. You've been on programs for it, and ever since last July, you managed to sort of control those issues.
Yeah, well, pretty much, just doing the groups and that, every group,
it's hard work, isn't it?
100%. It is a hard work, to sort of run your own life in a way to, sort of jumping into another thing that, you sort of have to deal with. Like, it's like learning at school, I never went to school as much, I went to year 10, but, when I went to year 10, it was like, I was jigging more than what I was going to school, and so, yeah.
So now when somebody says something or does something to you and triggers you, in the past where you would have lashed out because that was your learned reaction at that time, now they've put in place other strategies for you to sort of realise that there are other options. I don't have to lash out. I don't have to sort of...
Well, that's it, it's the thing that I got to do. I got to take note in my own self is when it's actually coming on, and the body symptoms and the emotions that I get to, I got to understand that I got to stop here before
they tell you what the warning signs are, so you can recognise in advance.
That's right. The warning signs and the signals that we get in our body. I've sort of got to the point that I can recognise them, and I can go and talk to somebody. So that program out at Dooralong, like, there's a lot of people out there, like support workers and, the case workers, I can walk up to any single person, even the project manager, he always offers, if I'm down or something, I can always go speak to them, they're just a lovely, kind-hearted people, and they're just out to help
So it has been, as the name suggests, the Dooralong Transformation Centre, it has been transformative for you, hasn't it? It is
100%,
turning
you know.
your life around 180 degrees.
Yeah, it has indeed. You know, I'm more relaxed and calm now. You know, I actually want to live life now, and before, you know, I didn't really want to live life, like I said before, and you know, just overcoming my problem, and you know, I've got to say, like, you know, the mind does still race on it, but you know, I've got the control over it, and you know, I can accept that I've got a better life instead of, you know, going back and accepting the addiction that I was in, you know what I mean? And it's
that's good. 11, we're having our sort of wind-up little chat with Christian this morning. Christian was telling me that he's found another drug, but don't worry, it's not a drug, but it's the great feeling he experiences when he's able to give a little bit back, because you've started sort of helping other guys out at Dooralong and sort of seeing what you can do to sort of assist them. Yeah,
so pretty much I've done, you know, the time that I've done, and you know, I'm pretty much a senior peer mentor, sort of, not a mentor, but, you know, sort of...
the head boy.
I'm a senior peer, so, you know, I can actually, you know, help others and, you know, carry a message for the other addicts, and, you know, the ones that have just come in, that, you know, if they need anything to talk to, you know, they can come up to me to talk to me, or, you know, there's other people out there, you know, in my shoes, you know what I mean, and, you know, work the program that they can give back as well. And, you know, when you give back, you got this better feeling inside yourself that makes you feel good, and, you know, having a drug, that never made me feel good. You know, there's a feel good here, but, you know, it just always ran away. So the feel good that I feel, that, you know, I'm actually helping somebody that, you know, actually wants it, and, you know, that needs it in a way that I just feel so amazed that I've got to a level that I can do that. And
it's so important to think, because you have the authenticity with people who are going through addiction in a way that's, you know, somebody like me just wouldn't, because you have that lived experience, and that you have that lived experience and you are genuinely trying to help somebody. It's a pretty powerful combination.
No, well, that's it. You know, it is a powerful combination that, you know, there is people that, you know, still suffering, and, you know, if I can get myself better, that, you know, I can go out and get a program into myself, you know, and carry that program with me, that I can carry that message to help another addict that's suffering, and you know, I just need to get my education up a bit more better, and you know, the understanding of the education that I need, and I can turn it around in a better way to help these upcoming addicts, and you know, the younger kids, and you know, maybe go to schools and talk it out schools of what my life used to be, and how I've come out of it, and it's just you know, to open up my eyes a bit more to life. And
I think you'll be terrific at that, Christian.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing we always ask our guests from Dooralong before we finish is how they react to the Christian message, the spiritual dimension, which is so much a part of the work that's done there at Dooralong. How is that sitting with you?
Myself, I'm still trying to, you know, soak it up and get it in properly, but, you know, there is something there, you know. My spiritual side, you know, I just look at the nature, and, you know, see the nature that's around me, and you know, the environment that I'm in, and you know, that's pretty much what I sit with, and you know, the birds chirping and all of that stuff, you know, that's pretty much what I sit with at the moment. But
well, I think very often God uses nature and wildlife and the countryside. That's His voice. Sometimes He speaks to you through that.
He pretty much does, you know. And you know, I see signs that He gives me through, you know, birds or something. You know, that's just, you know, me, and I don't know. Other people might be me, but you know, other people are different.
Yeah,
you know, but later down the track,
So that's a work in progress, but and you're open to it.
No, that's it. I'm open 100%, you know. I'm open to get what I need.
And when you get back to Dooralong this evening, it'll be chapel night and roast meal.
Yes, it will be. And that's when we can, you know, sit back and hear the word of, you know, Jesus and God, and, you know, try to understand it to what I need and how I want it. And,
enjoy the fellowship and enjoy the message.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, the community out there is amazing community, and yeah, the support we get from that place is, 100% perfect. You know, and if it's not 100% perfect, you know, everybody does fail, and stuff up or here and there. You know what I mean?
It's part of the human condition that we mess up.
Well, that's it.
All of us, without fail. Look, Christian, it's been a delight to speak to you this morning, to hear some of your life story and how hard it was for you at the beginning, and that descent into that sort of nightmare of addiction, and how you've managed to turn it around and sort of put your life onto a better track. We just pray that God will continue to sort of be with you, sort of shoulder to shoulder, as you sort of walk that journey. So good luck to you. Have a great night tonight, and give our regards to everybody back at Dooralong.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 rema.cc.